Hi, I'm Reed Cluis, and I'll be your host here for the In the Game interview series. I've started this series as a way to bring coaches closer together during these crazy times when it's so difficult to be a part of the game that we all love. A little about myself. I'm currently the head women's soccer coach at William Peace University, and I also coach with Neuse River Football Alliance through the spring and will be joining North Carolina Football Club in the fall. I played Division II soccer at Mount Olive College and previously served as both an assistant and head coach there on the women's side. I've worked as both a club director and club coach, and I've worked on the North Carolina ODP staff as well. I'm by no means a professional journalist, but I look forward to getting more comfortable in front of a camera and learning more about my fellow coaches. Our first interview will be with one of my good friends, Sean Brennan. I hope you enjoy it. So here on our first segment of the In the Game interview series, we have with us today Sean Brennan. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you give us a little background on your playing experience, your coaching experience, all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, thanks for allowing me to be here. Like Reed said, I'm Sean Brennan. I'm currently the assistant men's soccer coach at High Point University. Previous to that, I was a head coach for 5 years at the University of Mount Olive. And I was at UNC Pembroke before that as the associate head coach, and then actually at Mount Olive College as an assistant. So I've been really fortunate to kind of climb the coaching carousel ladder a little bit, and been able to touch all facets of Division I, Division II, and then I also played Division III as well as a goalkeeper at Methodist University, which was Methodist College when I was there.
Yeah, a little background for everybody. Obviously, Sean is one of my very, very good friends. We were college assistants together at Mount Olive. I was on the women's side when he was on the men's side, and then I was the head coach at Mount Olive on the women's side when he was the head coach at Mount Olive on the men's side. So we've had a lot of very similar experiences, but felt like it was good to have a good friend on for the first one, so that way we could try to work this thing out together.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're also, obviously, you've worked at all three levels of the NCAA. You also have had some experience in club coaching as well. Why don't you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. So when I got really my start into college coaching at Mount Olive College, I also fell into a director role with the Fayetteville Soccer Club, which is now Villarreal Force. So I was the director there for about 10 years, and obviously coached multiple ages and, both men and women on both sides of the game. And so I was doing that for a while, as well as doing the college gig as, two basically full-time jobs. So I've kind of dipped my feet into both sides of the game, and both have been able to give me a lot of different experiences and different challenges, which I think has helped really put myself where I am today.
So you just recently moved to High Point. Are you coaching club there as well?
Yeah, I am. So, well, sort of. I've run 3 training sessions before the coronavirus started. So I am a O1 boys coach at PTFC, Piedmont Triad Football Club. And then I also have a O8 girls team, which is a nice new experience that I haven't done in a long time. But yeah, so I'm helping out there as well in the local community.
Sounds good. I'm going to jump right into things. Why do you coach? What do you enjoy the most about it?
There's so many things. I mean, I think this profession gives us an adrenaline rush, a high every day, a ability to have a drive and be passionate about what you want to do. And, I don't think there's many people in the world that can say they wake up every day excited to go to work. They wake up every day, committed 100% fully to an end product and a goal, whatever your end product and goal is in this profession. But, I think it gives you a unique willingness to want to be successful on a daily basis. And then I think ultimately, most of us can honestly say we do this because we want to help people. And I think, I've been really fortunate over the years to be able to help a number of young athletes, and college players as well, achieve whatever those goals might be for them personally. And those end products, when you see players and you take them from beginning to end, those end products are just really, really why I'm in the game long term.
Okay. Okay. What style of play do you like for your teams typically to play?
Yeah, so I'm more of a possession build-up type of guy when I can. Some of our better teams at University of Mount Olive, we're more in a traditional 4-2-3-1, but we would open ourselves up so we could try and play with outside backs trying to bomb forwards. A good strong 6 that could sit in the hole and play, an 8 that would be able to extend, and a good strong 9. That could play back to goal with 7s and 11s kind of overlapping if possible. So, in a perfect world, that's what I like. But college soccer is a unique game where sometimes bash it and run after it is the style of the day. But in a perfect world, I like my players to be able to play under pressure and have the ability to break through lines when they can.
Defensively, do you try to play more of a pressing style? Do you kind of try to sit in and play a low block? What do you prefer?
Yeah, so early on in my coaching career, I was more in a lower block, and would overload near-sided situations. So the ball was on the opponent's right back side, which would be the left side of the field for us. We would over squeeze that area and leave the back third available. So the idea was to try to get teams to play through us, and then we could pick it and counter in a perfect world. And if they were able to hit that long diagonal ball, we'd have time to get across and cover. But as I kind of moved forward and started to develop my coaching style, I started to press more and respect opponents less. And the philosophy is trying to win the ball as close to the opponent's goal as we possibly could. So we did a little bit of both in my head coaching experience. In the club game, I press a lot, at the youth levels, because I think we run into situations probably across the board nationwide where we don't have 16 players that can play through pressure. So I tried to exploit that with opponents and press pretty high all the time.
Yeah, I think in the club game, I do something very similar. We press pretty heavily because we have such lax substitution rules. It's very easy just to kind of go put teams under pressure and then rotate the players if you need to.
Yeah.
What's your favorite activity to do with your teams?
I'm really big into culture, and I think in order to instill a culture that you want that is healthy and can be successful, I'm big into any type of bonding situations. A lot of times we were really fortunate in Mount Olive times where we had the beach really close to us and we had access to housing, and alumni were really supportive of allowing us to be there. So I think some of the things that are great are really just putting your players in uncomfortable situations where today maybe they just have to speak in front of groups, but we did choreographed music where they had to lip sing and dance and those types of things. We found the largest seashell we could, and that was our Champions League trophy. And the players voted with clapping. And what it does is it's simple. It sounds really cheesy and corny, but it puts guys in uncomfortable situations where they can't be the cool kid and they have to really step up. But what I found over the years is the guys actually love that kind of stuff. When you create an environment where it's comfortable and they're not going to be made fun of, but they're actually going to be supported for their efforts. So anything like that. And then I think things too, like soccer golf, that's a great activity that I think's underutilized with both club and college teams, getting your whole team out in groups of 4 and playing 9 holes of soccer golf. I think that stuff's great to get your players away from the game, but still be around each other. I think those are some of the most healthy ways to kind of grow those great cultural experiences.
May or may not have been witness to 1 or 2 of those sing-offs when we were traveling together on those long trips with
That's right.
men's and women's teams.
That's right. Absolutely.
What's your favorite coaching memory?
Oh, there's a lot. I think many years ago, I think this was 2009. Having the opportunity to take a really young and um, unexpected Fayetteville Force team to a state title, and winning North Carolina State Championship, and then making a run in regionals, I think was great for our area. And at the time, that the town did not have a lot of youth success, so that was a really special team and a great group of kids that I've followed and watched them grow up, have now graduated and are getting married and those types of things. And then all the way to a couple years ago, having one of the best seasons in program history at the University of Mount Olive, one of the best besides when Reed Cluess was a player, by the way, goes down in program history. A little shout out there for Coach Cluess.
Yeah, that was long time ago.
It was black and white television and those types of things. But
Played with a rock.
I think yeah, that's right. I think just to take a program that had been struggling for a while and give it a little bit of hope and see the joy and the life in those players that night when we made that run to the Final Four and upset two teams that get to the first final since when you played, I think was probably my most excited and surprised and proud moment of my college coaching career.
What do you feel like is the most important piece of being a coach?
I think there's a lot of them, and I think if we really have the ability to self-reflect, I think that's something that's becoming quite new in our profession. The ability to sit down and really be honest with yourself and what did I do well on the day and what did I not do well. I think that ability is so important. And what will happen there? We typically find all the negatives and we don't find any of the positives. And I think it's self-reflection both ways. 50% are so important internally, but then I think when you're dealing with your players, in my dealings over the years of seeing people and myself fail and seeing people and myself succeed, is the ability to listen and the ability to digest information from your players, and not always having the reaction that you want to have where it's no, you're wrong, no, I disagree, but the ability just to let the player speak, even if they're completely wrong, I think can be really important, because sometimes players in this era, they just want to be heard. They don't necessarily want your opinion in return. They just want the ability to talk. And I think that over my career has become really handy, a really handy tool that has helped me earn trust with players. And I've seen over the years, players seem to be okay, not usually what, especially on the men's side, what men's soccer players want to say or talk about. So I think just the comfort that the players have with knowing somebody's just going to listen is key.
And I think that kind of goes back to the players don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I think that's something that a lot that can kind of be lost at times, but I think it's obviously a huge part of what we do, for sure. So. Yeah,
I think too, we get so wrapped up in wins and losses, and the pressures in this profession that we put on ourselves at all levels. I think we lose track of those little things a lot, and I'm one to blame as well. And I think anytime that we can make sure self-reflect and make sure the players we're putting the players first and we're creating healthy environments for them to be successful, I think that's the most important. And if you're doing those things, the wins will come. The culture will change for the better. And ultimately, it might seem bleak and dark at the time, but trust me, I've been there. I've been through some of the worst. And, but at the end of the day, if you're doing the right things and you're being a good person and you're doing what's best for the players and, at the youth level for the kids, then ultimately you're going to find success.
Yeah. What are some things that you guys are doing at High Point with the current situation? What are some things that you guys are trying to do with your players? Did you send them home with any workouts? What are you guys up to?
Yeah, it's tough. We had our first team Zoom meeting last week, and it was more of just to check in and make sure everybody was doing okay. And obviously battling this online school and these transitions to online life, really. It's just kind of making sure that we're all okay. And then inside of that, we're going to do some smaller group Zooming and phone calling on a weekly basis. And I think it goes back to what I just said. We're really focused right now on just taking care of the players and making sure the players are okay and they feel as comfortable as we can be right now. And we're really focused on that. They do have some voluntary things that they can do, but it seemed to be across the board right now that a lot of guys don't have access to gyms, obviously, unless they have an in-home private gym. So some guys are lifting, some guys are not, but they're starting to figure out push-ups and sit-ups, old school style weight room stuff can be beneficial. And it seems like right now across the board for us, the one release is the ability to run because most parks are even closed. The guys can't kick around, and even if you can kick around, you can't kick around in groups more than 5 and 6 anymore. So we found it tough, but we're all across the board in the same boat. And I guess weirdly enough, there's comfort in that it's not just High Point Soccer, and it's all of us together in this trying to find solutions. And so right now we're just player focused, player driven to make sure our team's okay.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, what you're talking about with pretty much everything being shut down across the board. I think it's just a time to try to be creative with your teams and try to make sure that everybody's safe and not sick, obviously, and hopefully everybody that they're close with is doing the same. And it's obviously a crazy time, and that's really where this interview series is really coming from. It's just a chance for us as coaches to connect and kind of get to know more about each other. Obviously, me and Sean are pretty intimate with each other as far as knowing pretty much every detail of our coaching lives and outside of coaching as well. And I want to say thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for helping me kind of get this off the ground. And we look forward to hopefully having a pint soon.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate the opportunity, and I encourage people that watch this, if you want to get involved, I think it's great. We can learn from each other and at every level, and don't be intimidated on what level you coach at. I think it's great. I'm going to be following these videos, and hopefully I can learn some things from other people as well. And we might as well. We got all this time, and just find a way to learn. So I appreciate you putting it together.
Yeah, thanks again, Sean. We'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks.
I want to say thanks again to Coach Sean for joining us today. We look forward to continuing to provide these over the next coming weeks. We've had quite a few people reach out about joining us, and we look forward to talking to you. We're going to try to put these out once a day over the next week or so. I think we've already got between 7 and 10 interviews scheduled with many more people that we're trying to bring on. So I think it'll be a good chance to get to know coaches at many different levels, from coaches that just coach club all the way coaches at Division I level, and coaches coaching semi-professional right now as well. So thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to having you back again. Thanks.